I'm Rossana Passaniti. I'm the Public Information Officer at the City, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to our Florida Emancipation Day ceremony on behalf of all charter officers here at the City, including those here: Interim City Manager Cynthia W. Curry, Interim City Attorney Dan Nee, Interim General Manager for Utilities Tony Cunningham, and City Clerk Michelle Gainey. Also joining us is the Director of Critical Care, Brian McCain, from our sponsor, HCA Florida North Florida Hospital. Welcome. Also with us this morning is Commissioner Desmon Duncan-Walker, and Mayor Pro Tem Reina Saco. She will lead our program, but we'll begin with words of reflection, followed by song. At this time, let me ask Pastor Natron Curtis to share a prayer of reverence and healing.
There's a song that says, "Time is filled with swift transition. None of us on earth unmoved can stand. But we are admonished to build our hopes on things that are eternal and hold to God's unchanging hand." Let us bow our heads. Faithful Father and mighty God, you have summoned men to be your witness and to do your will. We in gratitude now unite all of our hearts this day to reflect on where you have brought us from and in hope look to what lies ahead. We append now our voices to the generations that have gone before us in giving thanks for the freedom you have brought us in this nation with the legal end of slavery and the progress that has been made. And yet, as much as we commemorate, we grieve and we mourn our black brothers and sisters that have been slaughtered and treated less than created in your image throughout history, and unfortunately in the most recent days. But Father, today I pray that as we raise this symbol of liberation and promise, that you will raise up leaders and laymen alike of compassion and conscience who will stand against racism, poverty, and false narratives built around hate. Guide us and enable us to follow in your footsteps, that we might be your instruments of love and of peace and of joy. I ask now that you bless our city, bless our citizens to be salt and light to both those within and those who are without, the haves and the have-nots. I ask these things and I pray in Jesus' name, amen.
And now, Ms. Justice Alexander, please come up and lead us in the singing of the Negro National Anthem, Lift Every Voice and Sing.
Lift every voice and sing till earth and heaven ring, ring with the harmonies of liberty. Let our rejoicing rise high as the listening skies. Let it resound loud as the rolling sea. Sing a song full of the faith that the dark past has taught us. Sing a song full of the hope that the present has brought us. Facing the rising sun of our new day begun, let us march on till victory is won. Stony the road we trod, bitter the chastening rod, felt in the days when hope unborn had died. Yet heart with a steady beat, have not our weary feet come to the place for which our fathers sighed. We have come over a way that with tears has been watered. We have come treading the path of the blood of the slaughtered. Out from our gloomy past till now we stand at last, where the white gleam of our bright star is cast. God of our weary years, God of our silent tears, Thou who hast brought us thus far on the way, Thou who hast by Thy might led us into the light, keep us forever on the path we pray. Lest our feet stray from the places, our God, where we met Thee. Lest our hearts, drunk with the wine of the world, we forget Thee. Shadow beneath Thy hand, may we forever stand, true to our God, true to our native land.
Thank you, and now I present Mayor Pro Tem Reina Saco.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. And thank you, Miss Justice Alexander, who I will add is the daughter of two wonderful city employees, John and Janelle Alexander, who are probably very proud parents.
Yeah.
Amen. Thank you, everyone, for coming today. It is a beautiful day, and I am glad that given everything that is happening in our community, especially the last week here at City Hall, that we are able to gather, that we are able to be together to celebrate something so beautiful and so important. On behalf of my fellow commissioners, those who are unable to be here, I say welcome. I welcome you all to the second annual Journey to Juneteenth celebration. Today we are launching a month-long series of events, beginning with today's official commemoration of Florida's Emancipation Day, May 20, 1865. We also have a lot of partners. Nothing is done alone, and we would like to thank them. Our sponsor, HCA Florida North Florida Hospital, a part of the HCA Florida Healthcare, and to our community partners whose representatives have served on our Juneteenth Planning Committee. These community partners are Alachua County, the Cade Museum for Creativity and Innovation, the Cotton Club and Cultural Center, Gainesville Black Professionals, GNV Arts Jam, the Mamas Club, and Nathan Ross Inc. Nothing is done alone, and we thank you for your partnership and your assistance. It was on this day in 1865, more than 2 years after President Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation, that Union troops finally reached the Knott House in Tallahassee, Florida, declaring formerly enslaved Africans as free. 2 years. 2 years after the law had changed. A law that was immoral, a law that was unjust, but it was a law nonetheless. And even when the law changed, people were still not free. People were still not free even after that day. And I think days like today and our journey to Juneteenth keep that in our memories and in our hearts. That despite change in law, despite change in some people, despite change in some society, we have a long road ahead. And that's why we call it Journey to Juneteenth, because we are still journeying and we are still walking a very long road. And don't get me wrong, we have come a very, very long way. And we are grateful for that. I'm grateful to live in a society where 1865 is no longer the norm, where my grandfather is no longer an other, where my friends and extended chosen family are no longer other. They are as equal to any of us standing here. But are we really? There are a lot of questions, a lot of gaps, a lot of misses, accidental or purposeful, in achieving the mission of that original proclamation. 10 million souls survived the journey to the Americas. Survived. How many more were lost? In 1865, when that proclamation was finally read, over 3 million people were enslaved against their will. And they were liberated. They were given something that was already theirs. They had a man in a very big White House say, "What is yours is yours. You can now have it." And that does not escape me, that what God and nature had already given had to be given back. Because the law, which should be there for justice, to protect everyone, had taken it. That is a very important lesson that we have to remember, especially here at City Hall, for all our legislators in Tallahassee, in DC, everywhere. The law is a tool to help, and it should be. That is a great responsibility, and we are here for our communities, not for ourselves. So if there is an injustice, be it legal or not, it is up to us to fix it, and to fix it right. Not just with words, not just with a proclamation, but with action, with change. And we are seeing some of that. We have seen some of that. But I'll be the first to say it's not enough. We owe so much more than what the last 170 years have shown. And we will continue to owe, because it is a debt that cannot be repaid for the injustices that were brought upon this community. But part of the beauty of this series of events is that we will see how far the community and this country and our society has come. We will see how the Black community has persevered, how they have risen to the occasion and far above, how they have made, well, this country, literally made this country, despite every roadblock put up against them, and how they continue to be part of our community despite the evils done against them, and how they have fully embraced being Americans and part of our society with full love and faith for their fellow Americans. You can't erase history. You better honor it, and you better respect everything that has come from those moments of hardship, those dark moments where everything seemed like it would fail. And value and appreciate every small beam of light that comes forward. So we will celebrate each and every one of those beams that have come since that day. And so I welcome you all to know we have a calendar somewhere. See all the events that we will see to honor and reflect on this very long journey. I believe some are more family friendly. They are in the program at the seats. So depending on age appropriate level, or even for your own personal well-being, how much you would like to go in depth, we will have a variety of opportunities to learn and reflect and grow and appreciate the community that quite literally built up this country. So with that, I would like to begin reading this proclamation and dropping everything. Do I actually need this? Are we good? Okay. Sorry, this is a very smooth surface. Whereas the Cotton Club Museum and Cultural Center is proud to celebrate Black History Month with the citizens of Gainesville, we are aware of the need for the accurate portrayal of African American history and are here to seek a proclamation which we consider to be vital to our city and state. And whereas President Abraham Lincoln issued the preliminary Emancipation Proclamation on September 22nd, 1862, it stipulated that if the southern states did not seize the rebellion by January 1st, 1863, then the proclamation would go into effect. And whereas when the Confederacy did not yield, President Lincoln issued the final Emancipation Proclamation on January 1st, 1863. And whereas emancipation in the state of Florida was proclaimed by General Edward McCook in Tallahassee, Florida, on May 20th, 1865, 11 days after the end of the Civil War and more than 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was issued by President Lincoln. And whereas on June 19th, 1865, Major General Gordon Granger of the Union Army arrived in Galveston, Texas, and informed the enslaved people there that the Civil War had ended and slavery had been abolished. Whereas Texas and Florida became the last 2 states to read the Emancipation Proclamation to their people, Galveston, Texas began its celebrations, and cities all over our nation joined in recognition of it being the last state to hear the reading. Citizens of Florida also began celebrating May 20th in their schools and community. Now, therefore, I, Lauren Poe, by proxy, by the authority vested in me as mayor of the city of Gainesville, do hereby proclaim May 20th, 2022 as Emancipation Day in the city of Gainesville and invite all our citizens to join me and communities all over the state in officially celebrating May 20th as Emancipation Day in the state of Florida. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused to be affixed the official seal of the city of Gainesville, Florida, this 16th day of May, 2021. Thank you. That said, because I can see Rossana staring at me, we will now have remarks from the wonderful Miss Deloris Rentz, one of our Cotton Club and Cultural Center members, and I believe member of the board. And so I will leave her to give us some words of encouragement. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you for inviting me to speak for this occasion. It is an occasion that we very much believe in and support at the Cotton Club Museum and Cultural Center. I stand before you this morning on behalf of the Board of Directors of the Cotton Club Museum and Cultural Center, and more specifically on behalf of Mrs. Vivian Filer, who is the chair of that board and unable to be here. This certainly would be her task because the celebration of May 20th, Florida Emancipation Day, is a cause that is near and dear to her heart, as it should be to all of our hearts. I'd like to spend just a couple of minutes and talk about this whole debate about what are we going to celebrate? What are we going to celebrate? We were all very excited very recently when we received a national law establishing June 19th, the celebration of Juneteenth, as an official holiday celebrating emancipation. And so how many people out there have a birthday? How many people out there know others who are in your house, or your friends and family members who also have a birthday? So do you celebrate those people's birthdays? Yes. Which birthday do you celebrate the most? Your own. You can admit it, because I already know the answer to the question. And so as we look at this question of celebration of Emancipation Day, think of it in terms of a birthday. We know that we celebrate here today the reading of the Emancipation Proclamation in Florida's capital, May 20th, 1865. But that proclamation was read in other states, former Confederate states, on other days. And so therefore they may be celebrating at different times. The same is true of the nation's capital, Washington, D.C. Most people took on the celebration of Juneteenth, June 19th, because it was the last reading of that proclamation. And we are going to celebrate Juneteenth at the Cotton Club Museum and Cultural Center as well. However, our biggest celebration is today because this is our birthday. And we will celebrate with others, but we give greater emphasis to our own celebration. And that simply is how we view this entire issue. And so we move on and celebrate as well as a nation in December when we have the enactment of the 13th Amendment to the Constitution for the legal abolition of enslavement of Africans throughout the entire country. Because we know that those in the border states and in certain parts of Confederate states in the South did not free enslaved people under the Emancipation Proclamation. And so again, I invite you to celebrate, and as you celebrate May 20th and journey to Juneteenth, beginning with the celebration of May 20th, I invite you to ask yourself a question. And the question is, I'm celebrating May 20th, now what? I'm celebrating May 20th, now what? So there's a little pamphlet that they handed me a few minutes ago that has all these events and activities. And you're invited to share in those as well. And so I look at it, I decide which ones I'm going to celebrate, which ones I'm going to go to, and my question is, then what? What is the point of your celebration? What is the goal of your celebration? What is it that you think should come out of this journey to Juneteenth? And no, I'm not going to give you an answer. Thank you and have a great day.
Thank you, Ms. Rentz, although the eternal student in me wants the answer or a cheat sheet. It's also my pleasure now to introduce our interim city manager for the city of Gainesville. Our manager, very dear to my heart, Cynthia Curry.
It is my pleasure to be here this morning. This is a very, very special day. I get emotional about it because my family has a history of actually being emotional around the history of Black people in this country. We as a family have always taken it very, very seriously, and education, quite frankly, has been what we have put at the head of our family in terms of pressing forward and moving the barriers away from succeeding in this life, in this country. And so with that, my family has had a long history with Bethune-Cookman College. And I will draw on that because my father being a pastor, my mom went to seminary with him, and Bethune-Cookman College being that beacon that we all, related to in terms of moving forward and succeeding is kind of where my history starts, back in the 50s. I'm still kind of young, I think, but but this is a very important day. I stand here, I celebrate it with you all, I embrace you all, and as the question has been posed, we do need to ponder inside of our hearts and our souls and wonder how can we collectively make this a better country, make this a better world, but how we as individuals contribute to that, what we do on a daily basis, right down to the basic services that are provided by the city of Gainesville, providing them equitably across this community. It should be at the forefront of everything we do and everything we provide in this community. And so under the leadership of 7 commissioners, the mayor and the commissioners, along with my fellow charters, we do the best that we can on a daily basis to ask those questions of ourselves as leaders, but also challenge those that work with us to make sure that we are doing the best that we possibly can in serving this community in an equitable way. And so with that, Commissioner Walker, Mayor Pro Tem Saco, we are here to serve, and we collectively as the builders in this community are doing the best that we can, and we will continue to do that. I'd also like to acknowledge Ms. Evelyn Fox, who is the president of our local NAACP. Thank you for the fight. Thank you for continuing on this journey. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Ms. Curry. And now, last but certainly not least, and I would never put anyone after her for a real reason, because no one can compare, our District 1 Commissioner, Desmon Duncan-Walker. It's just not fair to people.
Greetings, Gainesville. Come on, greetings, Gainesville. It's a beautiful, sun-filled morning. The weather's not quite too hot just yet. And I don't know about you, but I count it all joy to be sitting in this space, in this place, on this day, for this occasion. What a pleasure, what a joy, what an honor, what a privilege. Journey to Juneteenth. I want everybody to say that with me. Journey to Juneteenth. Let's say it one more time. Journey to Juneteenth. Being a native of Gainesville and a lover of history, it brings me great joy to know that my hometown has taken the initiative to celebrate Florida's Emancipation Day. Journey to Juneteenth. While Juneteenth has rightfully gained prominence in recent years as a date to remember the liberation of the enslaved, June 19th belongs to Texas. But Floridians own May 20th as our Freedom Day. I am a daughter of Gainesville, a proud daughter of Gainesville. And as Mayor Pro Tem Saco shared with us earlier, I am a product of those that survived the Middle Passage. I am a product of those that not only survived the Middle Passage, but that was dropped off in Camden, South Carolina, traveled down to Gainesville, Florida, and ended up at Hale Plantation. Yes, I am a product of those that were enslaved right here locally at Hale Plantation. And so today it is not lost on me, the celebration of this day. As our interim city manager stated, she gets emotional about celebrations like this. Well, so do I. As I journeyed to this place today, I could not help but wipe away the tears as I traveled across land and property that no doubt had been walked upon by my ancestors and my forefathers who fought, who struggled, who died, enslaved here in Gainesville. I'm reminded today of the words of the late, great poet, Dr. Maya Angelou. Bearing the gifts that my forefathers gave, I am the dream and the hope of the slave. It is my joy, it is my privilege to celebrate with you today our journey to Juneteenth. I am thrilled that our staff and community members have come together to plan an entire month of events that bridge Florida's Emancipation Day to Juneteenth. During these next 30 days, I call upon you, neighbors, to take part in those various festivities. But I implore you also to do just a little bit more. I ask that each of you push beyond your comfort zone to learn something about African culture prior to 1619. Research the royal families, the richness of the land, the diversity of the peoples, and the beauty of the art, music, and literature. Then read about the Middle Passage. I'd like for you to look beyond the glorified, gone with the wind version of slavery, to truly see the horrific existence that the African ancestors endured. Why am I asking you to do this? Because I believe that if we take the time to learn about both the splendor and the struggle of the ancestors, we would be more apt to dismantle racist systems and inequitable policies. Now is the time to truly face our deficiencies so that we can work hand in hand to create a community, in fact, a world that our future generations will be proud to inherit. While being one of the first cities to recognize Florida's Emancipation Day, and probably the only one to host such a comprehensive calendar of events to honor the end of slavery, is laudable, Gainesville still has much work to do. We all have a responsibility in building a better, more equitable community. Today, you can join me in pledging to advance justice in all arenas. And let's hold each other accountable in staying true to our commitment today and every day henceforth. This is our journey to Juneteenth. This is our journey to Juneteenth. Thank you so much for being here on this special day. I look forward to seeing you at all the festivities.
And now we see why no one goes after Commissioner Desmon Duncan-Walker. Thank you. So now, if I may direct everyone's attention to that way, our lovely staff has the Juneteenth flag, and they are going to be raising it for our city to behold.